And welcome back. We have with us our Farm to Home segment right now. We have Thomas McDowell with Rocky Mount Medical Park Pharmacy located inside of the Boyce Willis building, and we're so glad to have you on this morning.
Thanks, Sandra. Glad to be
I
back.
love your topic.
Yeah, we're overlooked topic for sure, but
Yes.
we're going to be talking about water.
People tell me all the time, I don't like water.
Yeah, and I'm one of those folks too. So it's one of those things where you've got to figure out a way around it.
Yes.
Because it's important, and so we're going to be talking about the benefits of drinking water, why you should stay hydrated and avoid
Yes.
dehydration, and then how to do it, some thoughts to consider, and also get into a little bit of disease state, how hydration affects certain disease states and could potentially cause or exacerbate certain conditions. So it's a big topic, seems like something simple, but we're taking a lot of medications in our society, but drinking water is something that we can control.
Yes.
And that's really, really important. And you mentioned to me you just feel better when you're
I
drinking
do.
more water.
I can tell when I'm drinking enough water.
And it's affecting all of your organs. We'll go over, I'll dive straight into some reasons why and what it's doing. You may
Yes.
think, well, I'm drinking one Diet Coke a day, so that has water in it, right? Well, it does, but it has caffeine in it too, and caffeine is a diuretic. So caffeine's going to cause you to eliminate more fluid from your body more rapidly than if you were just drinking water, and that leads to dehydration. So be careful what you're drinking. We'll talk more about that, but as far as what water does in the body, so it's helping carry nutrients and oxygen to your cells. It's helping flush toxins out of the body. Everything that you put in your body at some level is a toxin, whether it's more about quantity at times with certain things that you're eating, but too much of anything can be a problem and can turn the situation into a toxin-based situation. So helps with digestion. That's a big one. If you're not drinking much water, that can lead to GI issues and can lead to constipation, and a lot of other things can come from that. It helps prevent constipation. It helps normalize blood pressure if you're drinking a proper amount and not too much or too little. Helps cushion joints. So as we age and we're losing some cartilage and dealing with some arthritis, it can help provide a little cushion there.
Wow.
You need water in your joints and your organs. Protects your organs and tissues, kidney, liver, brain. Everybody is concerned about their memory and their brain health as they age. You need water to be mentally sharp. And so that's another key area.
And I think that's something we don't think about. All of these things are things we just really don't think about.
And water's pretty affordable. If especially tap water, and you can use a filter if you want to. And bottled water is pretty accessible out in the community. And it also helps regulate body temperature and helps maintain and regulate electrolyte balances, which is important. Sodium, potassium, magnesium, they all play a key role in our bodily processes. And so if you're getting off with your hydration, it can lead to a lot of other issues. And if we can control it ahead of time, you might not have to take this medication or deal with this disease state.
Do medications dehydrate?
A lot of them do, yes. Probably the most common one that comes to mind is hydrochlorothiazide, or HCTZ is the short acronym for that drug. Pretty common blood pressure medication. The way it works is it's a diuretic. It pulls fluid out of the body, and too much fluid can lead to increased blood pressure.
There you go.
And so, but it can also take things too far the other way and dehydrate you. And so whenever we talk to patients that are starting hydrochlorothiazide, we make sure to counsel them on how to tell whether you're hydrated or not. And a couple of quick tips on determining how hydrated you are.
I was going to ask you that. How
Yeah.
do we know?
So the easiest one is just monitoring your urine color.
Okay.
Not the most fun topic to talk about or the most glamorous, but you're looking for a lemonade type color.
Okay.
If your urine is really dark or leaning towards orange. Or brown, there's a problem. Sometimes dark yellow if you're sweating and working out or a lot of activity, but you want it to be more lemonade. Crystal clear, you could be pushing towards potentially too much water, but usually that's okay. But that's a quick way to tell. And then another little skin test. So if you grab the top of your skin right there, on the top of the hand, and just let it drop, you want to see it fall back down very quickly. And so if it's very slow to go back, then you might be a touch dehydrated.
Okay.
And so that's a couple of easy ways to tell. And of course, if you go to your doctor, there's some labs that they can identify to tell what your hydration level is. And a lot of times, almost everyone that I encounter that goes into the hospital for various reasons, they're going to be put on some IV fluids because most folks are dehydrated.
Yeah.
Just in general.
Well, and also, Thomas, especially the older population, because they don't eat and drink like they, as they get older,
Not
they just
regularly.
Eat less, drink less.
Drinking some coffee and then, maybe a drink at each meal or part of a drink. But you really need to drink water throughout the day.
Yeah.
And so talking about quantities of water is probably what people ask. How much should I drink? Well, it differs for everybody, age, disease states, but 6 to 8 glasses a day is a pretty good amount.
Which would be about 64, maybe 50 to 64 ounces.
Yep, exactly. That's a good amount. It seems like a lot and hard to reach that amount, so keeping some water on you is key. Everybody has the Stanley cups these days, the big, tall 32-ounce cups, so a couple of those and you're set.
Something you can sip on, right?
Yeah.
Not guzzle. It is hard if you're going to sit there and try to guzzle the whole water bottle. It gets hard. But if you sip, I find I can get it in if I sip all day.
Exactly, because I don't love drinking a whole lot of water, and I don't prefer water with my meals.
Right.
I like to have a little flavor with my meals, and so it's difficult for me. And my wife, she bought me a cup and said, "You need to bring this to work," because I would get so busy during the day, and next thing you know, I'm home and I haven't drank any water the entire day.
Right.
And so being conscious and intentional about it, bringing a cup with you is key. And so let's talk about some other beverages real quick. So a lot of our patients will tell me, well, I drink juice, I drink Mountain Dew, and I drink Pepsi. That's okay, right? Well, it's better than at times not drinking anything, because it does have water in it. But like we mentioned, if it has caffeine in it, it's counteracting that hydration potential because it's pulling out that fluid quicker than we'd like. And of course, sugary drinks. You also get into the issue of diabetics are going to need to minimize their sugary drinks, and you don't want to drinking sugary drinks for a long period of time and not exercising or being conscious of your health could lead to diabetes, type 2 diabetes, because Mountain Dew, Coke, Pepsi, all of those drinks have a lot of sugar in them. And so that's something to keep in mind. There's also your diet drinks. A lot of them still have caffeine, so that's still an issue. No calories, but that's probably not the best option, but it could be better, especially if you're diabetic. Sports drinks, have a lot of sugar, but they do have electrolytes. So especially if you're dehydrated, they can help bring you back to hydration quickly. But you don't have to drink a sports drink if you're dehydrated. Water typically will do the trick. We actually have a drink that I really like at the pharmacy that's called BioLite, and it's they market it as IV in a bottle, and it has much less sugar than your typical sport drink, and actually has double the electrolytes, so it can really expedite that process of rehydrating.
So BioLite.
BioLite,
okay.
yeah. It's
That's
a neat new product. It was developed by a doctor in Georgia, and it actually tastes pretty good too. You would think it'd be really salty with having double the amount of electrolytes, but it's pretty good, and that's a quick way to get back to hydration.
What about flavored water?
Yeah.
You know, you get the strawberry. I don't drink it. I drink plain water, but strawberry and all these flavored waters.
Sparkling waters and seltzer waters.
Because some people find it easier if it's got a little flavor.
And I'm in that group too. They're definitely better. They're minimal to no calories, and they have typically natural flavors and no added sugar or anything like that.
So if that helps you, then there's
option.
nothing wrong with that option.
No, those are definitely better than a lot of the other drinks out there on the market if you're not wanting to do water. And of course, you can have a balance of seltzer water plus regular water. It's not a perfect science. And so that's a great question. And then, you know, there's tea. Just keep in mind, tea has caffeine.
Right. I love tea with my meal. I want tea.
Me too.
But you can't have it all the time.
Yeah,
it's not good in moderation.
Exactly, and that's the key. You know, we're a lot of these drinks might be talking about the negative aspects, but moderation's key. You know, you can have some of these drinks and still drink some water, and you'll probably be fine. Keep in mind, alcohol is also a diuretic, so that's why. You know, that's one of the reasons why folks might feel bad if they have a few too many. Dehydration's a key piece of that feeling the next day, the hangover effect. So just trying to stay hydrated if you are drinking alcohol. But that's kind of the overview on the drinks, and there's a lot of other things that can lead to dehydration, you know, that most people are aware of, and being outside, especially summertime, we're seeing some hot days out there. Being in the sun will, you know, dehydrate you pretty quickly. Temperature is, of course, a factor. We talked about medications, and there's a lot of medications, even beyond hydrochlorothiazide, that can dehydrate you. But so let's talk about a couple of conditions that we need to be careful with how much we're drinking, and one is heart failure. So heart disease is the most common killer in the United States. And heart failure is under that umbrella. And so heart failure is when your heart is having trouble pumping as effectively as it did before, and it can cause fluid buildup, you know, in the lower extremities or in the lungs.
Right.
And if we're drinking too much water on top of that condition, that can actually lead to a heart failure exacerbation, you know, where you're short of breath. You might even have to go into the hospital to get that treated, usually with a diuretic. So there's times in those situations where you don't want to drink too much water, and so those patients typically are monitoring their weight every single day. If they gain or lose 3 pounds, then they, you know, are usually calling their doctor. And so there's a fine fluid balance there.
Right.
And then I know we're running out of time. Real quick, kidney disease. So a lot of times kidney issues are caused by dehydration.
Right.
So preventing, you know, kidney disease, one of the key things you can do is just stay hydrated. Blood pressure and high blood pressure and a lot of other things can also lead to that. But keeping your kidneys flushed. Kidneys filter out everything, you know, liquid we put in our body, and so staying hydrated is key there. But if you have questions about water or what you're drinking or hydration, talk to your pharmacist. We're accessible. We're a resource there for you, and we can help you, especially with your medications and your diet. There's a lot of questions there, so call us, Medical Park Pharmacy. We'd love to help you, 252-443-7979. And wherever you're at, talk to your local pharmacist. We can be a great resource for you. And yeah, I love this topic.
I do too.
It's simple but important.
And I do want to say, a lot of times we can't, it's just a busy world with a lot of people going to the doctor. So a lot of times when you have a question, you cannot get to your doctor at the time. If you have a question, don't forget, your pharmacist is much more, and the doctors will tell you that. I don't know how many doctors I've heard, I tell my patient, call your pharmacist. Yeah. They can get to, you know.
Yeah. And we appreciate that.
Yeah, so, you know, call the pharmacist, call Thomas, or call Rocky Mount Medical Park Pharmacy. If you have a question, it's going to be answered a whole lot quicker, I think, than having to call the nurse and she has to get the doctor back with you maybe the next day or the next day. It's kind of almost immediate. If you want to go down there, if you want to give them a call, they'll certainly try to help you out. So
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Enjoyed it, Sandra.
I enjoyed